Welcome back to World Drum Club. I'm Kalani Das, your host and teacher. So what is all this talk about meters or time signatures? You've heard people talk about 4/4, 6/8, 12/8, 3/4. What is it? Well, maybe you have an inkling, but I want to give you a little bit more so you can understand different meters and why we have these numbers that for some of us are a little bit confusing. So we're going to talk about that in this lesson. World Drum Club. Okay, so you've probably heard people talk about, oh yeah, that rhythm's in 4/4, or that rhythm's in 6/8, or that's in 12/8, or that's in blah, 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 blah. All right, so let's break it down. We'll get through the technical stuff first, and then we'll get to the more musical application part, because that's the important thing, is how does the music feel? So first of all, a time signature, or what we call the meter of a piece of music, refers to the rhythmic component. So as drummers and percussionists, we need to be concerned with that. There's two numbers in a time signature. The top number describes the number of notes or beats in a phrase, a measure, a beat, a cycle, whatever you want to call that. So let's just call that a cycle. So in 4/4 time signature, the top number, 4, describes, it's saying there's 4 beats. All right? It's saying there's 4. The bottom number is a fraction. And that is going to be one of the most popular. A quarter note, which is 4, 1, 4, right? A quarter. A half note, which is 2, right? 1/2. An eighth note, which is 1/8 or 8, right? So that's why we see things like 3/4, 6/8, 12/8, 2/2, all right? So let's look at this a little bit further now. So the top number's how many beats. The bottom number is what type of note. In other words, for the notation, what type of note are we going to use to write this thing out, this cycle? So let's look at 4/4. 4/4, or what we call common time, it's so common that they named it common, all right? Common time. 4/4. Most pop music in 4/4. A lot of folk songs, all sorts of songs are in 4/4. That's the most common one. It's also sometimes written with a C. Like they don't even write 4/4, they just write a C. They're like common. All right, so now you know that. If you see a C, it's 4/4, it's common time. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, a 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and a doom, doom, ja. All right, 4. It's 4/4, all right? Pop music. 3/4, 3 quarter notes is a waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, ba, 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 ba. D, 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 da, ding, dot, dot, ding, dot, dot. All right? Those are the most common rhythms that we use that have 4 on the bottom. Now, let's look at 2. 2/2. 2/2. Why do we have 2/2 if we have 4/4? Isn't that the same thing? 4/4 is 1, 2/2 equals 1. I'll tell you, it's a little bit different feel, and this is where we get into making these choices, and these are really what composers would use to write out the score or describe the music. It's like, it's not really 4/4, it's more of a 2/2 feel. What does that mean? 2/2, or what we call cut time, is more of a big 1/2, 1/2. It's used more for marches. It's used for samba, usually, which is based on a march. So, 1, 2, 1, 2. So 2/2 is 2 half notes. All right, that's that meter. 2 half notes. So just think 1, 2, 1. If it's got a 1, 2, like big feel, that's 2/2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 is 4/4. So it just depends on the feel. And yes, you can write out the same rhythms in, the same sounds, the same pattern could be written in 2/2, it could be written in 4/4. The listener, you may not really know the difference, but as a composer, that's what we're talking about. People choose these meters because of their implied feel. All right, 6/8 is a little bit what we call a compound meter. And 6/8, it's not that we're going to feel every one of those 6 notes. Actually, 6/8 is, again, it equals the same as 3/4, right? So we have 3/4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Why do we have 6, 8? Isn't it the same thing? Well, no, because what we're doing in 6, 8 is we're grouping two groups of 3/8 notes. So it becomes what we call a triple meter or a compound meter, which is 3 groups of 3, and then we have 2 of those. Whereas 3/4 is really 3 groups of 2, right? You confused yet? So 6, 8, let me show you because then it explains it better. So 3/4 is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 6, 8 is yaka da daka da daka da daka da 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, our waltz. So when we go into 6, 8, it's a different feel, triple feel. Same with 12, 8. So we have 12, 8, commonly known as a shuffle. Same idea, but like 2, 2, 6, 8 relates to 2, 2 because it's 2 groups of 3. 12, 8 is not just 2 6 8s. 12, 8 is more like the 4, 4, right? It's a longer phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's 4 groups of 3, right? So that's how meter works. Those are the most common meters. Could you have 3 groups of 3? Yes, that's called 9, 8. That's like taking 3, 4, but grouping each group into groups of 3 instead of groups of 2/8 notes. So instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you can have a meter or a time signature in just about any configuration. The most common ones are 4, 4, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 8, 2, 2. And then we can get into odd meters. So when you see something like 7, 8, right? 7/8 notes, 5, 8 or 5, 4, 5/8 notes or 5/4 notes, then you're in a little bit different category, a little bit different zone. But 4, 4 is the most common, 6, 8, 12, 8. 4, 4 and 6, 8. And I want to give you guys a little bit of homework now because we're going to close up this lesson. But before we go, I want to give you some homework, which is I want you to find some music you can listen to that switches back and forth between 4, 4 and 6, 8. It's really interesting. And I would check out some Latin jazz, maybe check out a song called Green Dolphin Street or Night in Tunisia, and see if you can listen to some music where the main pulse stays the same, but the feel changes. It goes from 4, 4 to 6, 8. And it's a really cool feature. And a lot of Afro-Cuban music and West African music, any music from the African diaspora, tends to be able to switch the feel pretty fluidly from 4, 4 or what we call duple meter, kind of square feel, into the more fluid and rolling feel of a ternary or triple meter like 6, 8 or 12, 8. So go find some music like that. And if you'd like to leave some posts below that describe that or what you found, or you can leave a link, I guess, if this posting area will let you leave a link, do it and share it with our World Drum Club community, all right? Okay, I hope this clarifies things. If it doesn't, you can ask your questions below. Of course, the best way to reach me more directly is at patreon.com/Kalani, where patrons and supporters of the channel get a little more attention than here on YouTube. But wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. I hope you get a chance to make some great music. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you all in a future lesson.